Boom.
We are live. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Social Your Sales Live. Uh, the Social Your Sales Lives I do every Tuesday and Thursday at different times to be convenient for my guests. But you can also take a look at the Social Your Sales podcast and our YouTube channel. And I'll put links down below once we're done. But Mike, I see you're excited. You're ready to go. So let's jump into this because we go about 20 minutes max generally. And I want to make sure that we provide a ton of insight and value to everybody. So today, my guest is Mike Garrison, who has not only become a good friend of mine over the last 4 or 5 years of talking social and training and social selling and all of that, but he is the founder of the values-based mindset, where he coaches around mindsets and he trains in social selling. And Mike's specialty niche is wealth advisors. And so, Mike, welcome to Social Your Sales Live.
Thanks, man. I'm excited to be here and talk about Facebook.
Yes, I know we are going live on our YouTube channel. We're going live in our LinkedIn page or my LinkedIn account, and we are going live on the Funnel Amplified Facebook page. So for everybody watching, today we're talking Facebook. So Mike, let's hear it. You said you got some new and some really cool tactics and strategies inside Facebook for wealth advisors, but also all professional service providers. Share away, my brother.
So I have a podcast called the Values-Based Mindset Experience, and on it, I feature a lot of small business owners. About 90% of the time, it's financial advisors, financial planners, wealth advisors. And that's because I was one, and I love coaching them. I love the industry. I love the impact they have. And I love the fact that it's highly regulated. And this may seem a surprise, right? Because most folks in the industry, when they think about compliance and social media and stuff like that, they seem to generally have a bad reaction. And I would say this: simplicity creates power. Simplicity creates power, which means
Okay.
that these things that you perceive as limiters actually are force accelerators, right? They're force multipliers because you don't have to worry about some other things. Facebook is where you either do it completely freaking wrong or you're a human being.
Explain what you mean by that.
So, how many people think that sharing crap about your
Not
financial
that not
products?
that you not that you've already indicated you already have an opinion about it
Well,
by
listen,
using the word crap.
so Brandon, other people have opinions. I share facts.
Preach it. Keep going.
But so think about this: most of what you are required as an advisor to do marketing wise is corporate crap. It's a brochure. It has no real value. It's just intended to have you be on social media. Now, this is something Brandon and I have talked about at length, right? Volume is not necessarily great when everyone else is playing music as loud as they can, right? So it's not going to work for you. You have to be different. And one of the ways you can be different on Facebook as a financial advisor, wealth manager, is actually be a human being, right? Now, this takes discipline. This takes a mindset. You have to be ready. But let me ask you a question. All these wealth advisors, you're at a cocktail party, right? You meet somebody that is a lead surgeon of a private practice with 30 other surgeons. Are you immediately going to hand him a trifold brochure about how freaking amazing you are at doing IRA conversions?
Now you mean figuratively, right? In a conversation.
Yeah, like
I mean, it could be literally you pull out the brochure and
so.
lose all potential connection.
I used to own a bunch of BNI franchises. I franchised a referral training company. I have a bestseller in referrals. I have seen all of it bad analog, and it's now being replicated on social. People
The
are doing
bad.
the same bad shit. They're just doing it bigger, bolder, where more people can figure out never to listen to them. You know, that's what's happening. So here's the thing. You're depending upon which company you're with, you may be allowed to have a business Facebook page, that thing is worthless. It has no value whatsoever because nobody wants to go to it because they know that you're only going to be able to share corporate canned content that nobody wants to know about IRAs. Nobody wants to know about any of this stuff, right?
Right.
They want to know that you have something to offer. All right. So let's get to it. Be a human being. You have to have a personal Facebook page. And guess what you're not going to do on it, Brandon?
Not going to share IRA stuff.
You're not going to talk business. Like you're actually
Yeah.
going to talk about things that you're interested in. But more importantly, you're going to do what we actually did when we went to real networking events, right? 2 ears, one mouth. You're going to go look for conversations. And if you are a wealth advisor, whether you are, someone who has a different political stripe or has a faith-based background, or you believe that purple monkeys will rule the universe, wherever you're coming from, there's probably somebody else that wants to buy that way. So what we have to do is find conversations. And this is something Brandon and I've talked about at length. This is what I work with all my clients on when I'm trying to show them that Facebook is the happy hunting grounds, except that we're not an assassin. We're a farmer. So let me ask you a question. And this is, I'm not going to pick on Brandon, but the biggest mistake people make when there are a wealth advisor is they look at social as something they're going to broadcast out to prospects with. They're thinking like they're going to compete with Google, they're going to compete with Madison Avenue, trying to advertise for clients via brochures. That's not good. Like, here's the thing. If you are someone who's a real human being, who's got a defined set of values, who's got a way that you believe you should live your life, that is what makes you unique. That's what no one else can take from you because it's your experience of what you are trying to do, of how you're trying to live your life. And here's how we do it. We connect to our clients first. You have, like, I don't know, Brandon, and this is where you can help out. When I'm interacting with people on social, when I'm meeting new clients, I am always amazed at the horrifically low percentage of connections that advisors have with current clients on social platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually get some kind of weak excuse like, well, Facebook's no good. And I'm like, well, I hate to tell you, that's like saying a hammer's a bad screwdriver. Like, just because you're having a bad experience doesn't mean that it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And I want wealth advisors to think about this. What happens when you get closer to your clients? What happens when you have more conversations with your clients? What happens when your clients feel like you know them more? Referrals. The first layer of social for financial advisors, wealth managers, financial planners, heck, even insurance guys on Facebook
I'd
is
say any professional services, to be honest. Yeah.
right. Why are we not connecting to our clients? So here's the great news about connecting to your clients on social. They already bought. You don't have to worry about sharing horrible brochures that have to be compliance approved. Like, Brandon, I know a couple of your good clients. Would it be useful for you with some of your good clients, maybe around renewal time, right? 90 days renewal, for you to know what kind of events are occurring in their lives, for you to know what other CEOs, because we both know that's who you sell to, brother. Like, you sell to CEOs. Like, would it be kind of interesting to see what other CEOs are interacting with?
Right. And I mean, I would say not 90 days out of the renewal, but throughout the year.
Period.
Right. We don't just bring on a customer, forget about them for 9 months and go, oh, renewal time's coming up. It is yeah.
Now, a lot of wealth advisors, this is how it works, right? They've got their quarterly meeting and they're like, oh no, I got to get ready for the quarterly meeting, right? This social, hey, Alex, great Great comment. Totally true, right? It's social media. It's not broadcast media, cold call media, advertising
Mm,
media, or brochure media. It's social. So the first thing is be social. And when you're looking at this, I get it. Say you're the CEO, partner in charge of a large professional services firm, maybe an independent RIA, who knows? You are looking at social and you see it as a time waster. And that's because you're not
mhm.
interacting with clients on it. Think
Right.
about it. Think about it, right? Um, I bet you and I could come up with a dozen companies in the wealth management space that know, based upon their data, that if they have more conversations with current clients, they get more referrals. So, number one, you got to be on social and you got to be connected to your clients. Number two, you need to find conversations. So, for example, I was working with a team of mine yesterday, and we're going through one of the modules in the social selling and influence course from DLA about what do you want to be famous for. And one of the young guys is, really stumped. He's a young, new advisor. He's still getting his licenses, but we are already, because the CEO of the company is a visionary, we're already laying out how to build his network and have him ready for when it's time for him to start developing his own practice. We're already laying that foundation now. And he said, you know what? At one point, I thought of being a teacher, and I love educators and professors. I said, great, let's get on Facebook and let's see how many groups there are for college professors. Thousands.
Hmm.
Some of them are private, so you might have to work to get in them, but there's thousands of Facebook groups around anyone that you really want to work with. So that's the beauty of social, is we don't have to broadcast to everybody on Facebook. But I'd say, for example, was it who was the guy that commented earlier?
Alex.
Alex. So say Alex is a financial advisor, and Alex loves contractors because his dad was a contractor. Well, guess what? They're on Facebook, right? You just have to find the conversation. And I guess, the last thing I would say, and it's kind of an appeal for how we use Facebook, people use the reality that not everyone is active on social all the time as a reason not to do it. But that doesn't take into account that this is an asynchronous form of communication. And
Explain what that means.
so it's not live. It's not like when you're cold calling or even calling up your client trying to book an appointment and playing phone tag. It's asynchronous. So you don't have the time demands that you do in regular life. Use the technology to your benefit. So, for example, you do a little search. Say Alex does a search for, maybe he's in Macon, Georgia, right? You do a little search for contractors within 100 miles of Macon, Georgia, because you and I know, Brandon, that is easy on Facebook.
Mhm.
Like, that's easy.
Right.
You can find out all those people, and then you can start sending them connection requests. Weird. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you start it. Well, I guess with Facebook, you do have to be connected to them before you engage.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I got LinkedIn on the brain.
Yeah. So you start sending connection requests, and it's really simple. They either accept or they don't. It's not, you can still search for them. You can see some of the stuff they're doing depending upon what's going on. But you have to find conversation. So I've had two guys on, one that we published last week and one that'll be published 2 weeks from now,
On your podcast.
that are getting almost all of their clients via Facebook. One of them is so successful, he's already less than 4 years into his business, referring more business out than he accepts. He's already,
Because yeah,
right,
that's
and
amazing.
he gets all his business from Facebook Messenger and, believe it or not, Twitter, and he never posts as an advisor. Guess what he does?
Let's hear it.
He finds people that are trying to figure out in his target market, and I'm not sharing it because it's brilliant, right? His business model is designed specifically for his target market, and his marketing is designed specifically to get it. He finds his target market asking questions about what he does, and he just helps them. He doesn't recommend products. He doesn't give them advice. He just answers questions because you're allowed to do that. If you're at a business
Mhm.
party as a wealth manager and somebody says, "Hey, you work for, XY Trust Company. What's an RI? What is an IRA?" You are allowed to tell them what an IRA is. You're allowed to talk
Mm,
about advice, right? But you are not allowed to give specific advice. So does that make sense?
it
He
does.
he helps them, and this is the power. Not only are those clients, when he brings them on, actively engaged with him on social media, so the moat between him and his competition is so wide and deep, you'll never cross it because he's
Ex-
connected to them.
yeah, explain that. Explain why. Because I get it, I understand it, but I want to make sure that you explain that moat between him and his competitors.
Well, I actually, so I think you explained this to me first. So, so I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago at the Sales Management Society. So, full disclosure, this is something Brandon explained to me. So, if I do it bad, Brandon, you have to help me out, right?
I'm sure you're going to do great.
There's a reason why I am a happy affiliate of Funnel Amplify. Right? It's like,
That's right.
hey, Brandon, help me out, man. So, the moat is this. The reality is, Merrill Lynch banned cold calling by all their new advisors, right? One of the world's largest financial services companies banned cold calling, and they're going all in on social and bank referrals. They are coming to social, whether they do it well or not, they're coming to social, and they are going to be going after all of your greatest clients, right? And you have a choice. You can either be a free range financial advisor and leave your sheep to wander wherever they wander, right? And then hope that when you come whistling for them, that they come, but they're going to be picked off. And so what a moat is it's friction that you install for between your competitor and your client. Because when your clients are connected to you more than once a quarter, and when you're doing more than hitting rebalance once a quarter for value, when you actually know them and you're really interacting, those clients have a much longer and more higher coefficient of friction for someone trying to peel them off of you because they're
Yep.
connected to you. How'd I do? Was that close?
Yeah, I think it's great. And I will say, I love your analogy. Your sheep, you whistle, they come, you build the moat. And, we've talked about this a few times too, and I wrote a white paper or whatever you want to call it on it, is the circle of trust, right? What buyers, because of the internet, because of social media, they don't rely on us for information, right? They don't, it's not us picking up the phone, calling them and going, "Oh yeah, I've been wondering about this." They can go Google search or ask their friends or ask
And
a
they
group
will.
on social, anything they want at any time. And so what we do is we all have a circle of trust. It's people that, their newsletter we haven't marked as unsubscribe or spam because
Mhm.
we want to hear from them. We trust them. It's people that we haven't disconnected from on social media or unfollowed because they're annoying. We actually want their stuff. And even inside Facebook, you can stay connected to somebody and remove them from your newsfeed and say, "I never want to see their post." So you're not rude, but you're like, I don't want their crap in my newsfeed.
That's just family. That's just family.
We so we all have our circle of trust that we welcome into our brains, if you will, and we have walls that keep people out. And what you're talking about is when your customers are so engaged with you and you with them because of your social based activity, they're getting information from you, they feel connected, they feel valued. Anyone else that starts trying to come into their circle of trust is going to be Heisman. They're going to be
Totally.
stiff armed and
Totally.
kept out.
I would so because I have these conversations all day, every day with folks in financial services, I would say this is the mindset you need to have, right? To be social or to begin to be social, whether you're an individual wealth advisor or you are running a firm of 1,000, professionals. The mindset has got to be not that social is something new, because what you're doing is you're making it harder. Like, don't add unnecessary friction, right? Like, don't put a bowling ball in your backpack when you're going for a mountain bike ride. Instead, think about it this way, and this is what I always say: we're going to integrate for effect. We're going to integrate everything that we know in financial services about referrals and word of mouth. We're going to integrate that into social media, social selling, social platforms. So it's really a combination doing the same thing. And then you have to think about this. How much time do I have to figure it out on my own versus what is the opportunity that I have right now? Because all the people that I've been talking about didn't go to a special course or anything like that, including me, including you. Now, you and I have been associated with DLA, and we've got some inside stuff. But these advisors that I'm telling you these stories about, they developed it over a year or two of just trial and error. You can do it. All you have to do is integrate what you know works when you're in front of people with how you operate online. If you want to go faster, what you cannot do is try and get a quick fix seminar or something like that. You need to think about, how can I have a process of successfully learning and changing behavior? Because cognitive, in my company, Brandon, we describe it this way, right? A values-based mindset is worthless if you don't act upon it. So we've got two things that happen, and often at the same time. We have knowledge acquisition, and then we have implementation for measurable effect. They are not always compatible, right? And so what you need to do if you're running a firm or you're on your own is think about this in a measured way, kind of like risk assessment, right? Risk analysis. Like, we don't want to all be small cap international growth in emerging markets. We want some bonds. We want some more secure investments. So that's what I encourage, without pitching what you or I do, because you can do it on your own. Don't try and do it fast. Have a strategy, have a plan, make sure you can measure and tie everything to revenue. Like, you're a financial advisor, everything you do right now is tied to revenue. Why shouldn't your marketing be the same?
There you go. I love it. Well, we're hitting our time, Mike. So how can people find you? And then we'll also put it in the comments, but how can, and then remember, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on LinkedIn Live.
So you can search for Mike Garrison in this really attractive mug, right? But I would just do values-based mindset. If you do values-based mindset, you're going to find me on all the platforms I'm on, which are Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can go to my website, valuesbasedmindset.com. If you're interested about this values-based mindset concept, which is knowledge acquisition and then execution for effect, implementation for effect, you can also send me an email at mike@valuesbasedmindset.com, and I will put you on our pre-list to be part of our free community around values.
Yep. I think it's great. And one of the reasons why I wanted Mike to be a guest, what I really appreciate about his business and his focus is that he focuses on mindset, and then he focuses on social selling training. And I know he's saying you could do it on your own, and you can. You can also potentially learn how to do it better and faster by working with Mike or any of our partners inside of DLA Ignite that have years of experience doing this. And I'll say case studies of lots and lots of very successful customers that are taking this whole digital transformation and a social organization to a new level. And we are living in a really, really fun and awesome time. I mean, I believe that history is going to look back on this time exactly like we currently look back on the Industrial Revolution. Things change dramatically. And the question I always have for people is, where's your company going to end up in 10 years from now? If this is true, that history is going to look back on this as a big pivotal time, where's your company going to land? And will it turn a corner, and will it still be around in 10 years? So Mike, thank you so much for all that information, especially around Facebook. And we'll see everybody next time on Thursday when we do Social Your Sales Live. And I'm going to put a link down because we just released an episode today on the Social Your Sales podcast,
which was
Valinda.
awesome.
Thank you. Valinda was fantastic. So everybody was with Valinda Cox from Konica Minolta. She is a senior leader there, and she shared some really great stuff about mindset of leaders in corporations as they're approaching social into the rest of the 2020s.
So you got to give me another minute.
Go for it.
All right. So I broke into outside sales selling copiers for Konica, an independent Konica dealership. And I'm here to tell you, financial advisors in any small business, when the copier industry is all in on social and you aren't, you are way behind. I'm serious. You need to buckle up. You need to strap on your boots and you need to start rolling because they are serious about sales. And when they know that email and cold calling and these things don't work anymore, we got to do it. Your business is residual. You're a financial advisor. Like everything you do accrues. Get on social.
There you go. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Social Your Sales Live. We'll see you on Thursday, and check out the podcast with Valinda Cox from Konica Minolta. Link will be in the comments.
It's incredible.